think dating today is complicated, welcome to the Victorian era, where a single glance could destroy your reputation forever. No Tinder, no DMs, and not even a simple hi without a 300-page social protocol. Yes, my friends, we're talking about one of the most rigid and bizarre periods in dating history. Now, imagine this. You're in your early 20s, enjoying life, when suddenly, boom, your family starts giving you side eyes because you're not married yet. In the Victorian era, if a woman wasn't engaged by 25, she was officially labeled a spinster, basically discarded from the market. Marriage pressure? Bridgerton has nothing on this. And if today's dating games involve delaying replies to avoid looking desperate, back then, things were even worse. Everything had to be controlled, rehearsed, and full of hidden messages. One miscalculated flirtation could get you socially exiled. Yes, ghosting was literal in those days. So buckle up, because today, we're diving into the most bizarre rules of Victorian dating, and how people found ways to cheat the system. Spoiler alert, it was basically a secret love operation. Hey Discovers, real quick before we dive back in, I've got a small favor to ask. If you love historical curiosities, epic battles, crazy mysteries, and mind-blowing stories that most people don't know about, then hit that subscribe button right now. That way, you won't miss any of our new videos and can keep uncovering insane facts every week. And of course, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow and brings you even more awesome content. Alright, let's jump back into history. If you think modern society pressures women into marriage, try being a Victorian woman. Back then, a girl couldn't even breathe near a man without someone already planning the wedding. Rule number 1. Never, under any circumstances, could a woman make the first move. Today, sending a simple hi over WhatsApp is harmless. But in the 19th century, that was a full-on act of rebellion. The man had to take the initiative, and any bold flirting from a woman was seen as scandalous. And if you think turning 30 and being single gets you judgmental comments at Christmas dinner, in the Victorian era, if a woman wasn't married by 25, she was seen as hopeless. Her fate: a lifetime of embroidery and tea parties, with zero Mr. Darcy to rescue her. But wait, it gets worse. If you did get married, congratulations! Now, everything you owned, including yourself, belonged to your husband. That's right, the law erased a woman's legal rights upon marriage. If her husband gambled away her fortune, she couldn't do anything about it. Imagine marrying a lord addicted to betting? Yep, game over. So, yes, modern marriage pressure still exists, but at least no one can legally steal all your money just because you signed a contract. Progress, right? Today, showing interest in someone can be as simple as liking their Instagram post. But in the Victorian era? Oh, my friend, it was a full-blown espionage mission. No text messages, no emojis, no direct conversations. Couples had to be creative and develop their own covert flirting techniques. First, the language of fans. Yes, fans. The way a woman held or waved her fan could say, "I'm interested," "Go away," or even "Meet me in secret." Closing the fan slowly? Yes. Tapping it against the palm. "Leave me alone." It was basically WhatsApp, but Victorian and way more complicated. Another technique: coded glances. Today, 3 consecutive looks at someone means you're interested. In the Victorian era, it meant romantic intent. But too much eye contact. Total scandal. A misplaced gaze could destroy your reputation. And now, for one of the weirdest habits: exchanging hair locks. Yes, collecting your crush's hair was totally normal. Imagine someone today asking for a strand of your hair as a keepsake? Creepy, right? But back then, keeping a lover's hair in a locket or sewing it into a handkerchief was a major sign of true love. Moral of the story: if you think emoji flirting is confusing, try decoding fan signals and secret stares. Victorian romance was basically an encrypted game, where mistakes could cost you everything. Today, a dating scandal might mean an unfollow, gossip, or a Twitter cancellation. But in the Victorian era, one wrong romantic move could ruin your life forever. Because while society pretended to be moral and proper, Victorians loved a good scandal, as long as it wasn't theirs. Example? Lady Colin Campbell, a socialite destroyed by a scandalous divorce. Both she and her husband accused each other of infidelity, but guess who got socially cancelled? Only Lady Campbell. In the Victorian era, when a marriage failed, the woman was almost always blamed. And speaking of massive scandals, Oscar Wilde, one of the greatest writers of his time, but his romantic life got him arrested for indecent behavior, aka being gay. The scandal ruined his life, stripping him of status, money, and freedom. Hypocrisy much? And let's not forget arranged marriages gone wrong. Imagine falling in love but being forced to marry someone else. Some Victorians tried to escape arranged marriages, but most ended in disaster. Ruined reputations, family exile, and lifelong disgrace. Bottom line. In the Victorian era, one romantic misstep could banish you forever. And unlike today, there were no second chances or new Instagram accounts to restart your life. If aristocratic love was a minefield full of absurd rules, what about those who weren't part of the elite? Well, regular folks had much bigger concerns than picking the perfect partner based on Victorian etiquette. First off, fewer rigid rules. While noble families had to organize extravagant balls, exchange formal letters, and obsess over their reputation, working-class people had more freedom in choosing a spouse. That doesn't mean things were easy, just that they didn't have to decode fan signals or exchange strategic glances. Now, here's the sad part. Most marriages weren't about love but survival. In a time when extreme poverty was a harsh reality, getting married often meant financial security. In other words, sharing a cramped house and a meal with someone was better than starving alone. Ironically, lower-class women had more independence than wealthy ones. Unlike aristocratic ladies, who could barely leave the house alone, working-class women had to earn their own money. This meant that, in some cases, they had more say in their choice of partner, because they were financially supporting themselves. In the end, romance among the lower classes was more straightforward and less theatrical, but it came with its own set of challenges. While the nobility suffered under suffocating rules, the poor had to fight just to survive. In love, as in everything else in Victorian times, your social class decided your fate. If you think dating today is complicated, imagine needing an advanced course in fan language, watching every glance you made, and risking total social exile over a simple flirt. Victorian-era romance was not for amateurs. Between secret codes, forbidden scandals, and ridiculous rules, finding love felt like an impossible mission. Which just proves that humans have always loved making romance unnecessarily difficult. But at least today, you can just send a quick, "Hey, stranger" text, or block someone and move on. So next time you complain about Tinder, remember this. At least you don't have to learn the language of fans just to get a date. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these rules would be the hardest for you to follow? Or would you have been kicked out of Victorian society after your first date? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more bizarre historical truths.